Good afternoon, Rochester Memorial students and families. Mr. Medeiros here with a Medeiros Minute Summer Edition. Boys and girls, I want to start off by saying I hope you had a wonderful summer. I hope you enjoyed those summer reading books that your grade level teachers assigned to you. I know they're really looking forward to talking to you about those books when you get back next week. But we're so excited to welcome you, boys and girls, back next week. Our school looks beautiful. Mr. Willett and his team have done an amazing job, not only with the building inside, but also our campus. You'll see that our parking lot and our campus is looking beautiful out there, as well as inside the building, as always. Our building is clean and shiny, and a huge thank you to Mr. Willett for all of his great work with his team in getting our building ready. Boys and girls, I know that your teachers and all the staff here at Rochester Memorial have been here over the last few weeks, just really preparing spaces. And we'll talk a little bit more about what those spaces look like in a second. I'm going to share my screen and we'll go through a presentation. But be very excited, boys and girls. Your teachers are here. They're ready to welcome you. And we're so excited to welcome you back so that our school can be alive and well. And we see your smiling faces. And as you always provide such a great positive energy into our school. And we can't wait to welcome you back next week. Very much looking forward to it. With that, boys and girls, as we welcome you back next week, we want to welcome new staff members. So we do have some staff members who have moved around positions, and some of you will get to know a little bit about that as the school year goes on, but we have welcomed some new staff. So, for example, right here in the main office, we have a new secretary. Mrs. Aberray did retire. I know that we had some communication with our families in our community in June that we did have a couple of finalists for that position. Unfortunately, we weren't able to secure someone, so we reposted it, and I want to thank everyone who participated. We had tons of stakeholders who participated in those interview committees, not only for this position, but for our teaching positions as well. So I want to thank everyone who sat on those committees. But boys and girls, we reposted it, and parents and guardians reposted that position. We were able to run through interviews and finalist rounds again, and we were very fortunate to have Miss Allison Gard on board. Some of you may know Miss Gard. She was our athletic department secretary up at our high school in Mr. Tilden's office, our athletic director for the Old Rochester Regional High School. And before that, she spent some time in the junior high as well. So a lot of folks may know Miss Gard. She's certainly a familiar face. We're very lucky and fortunate to have her on board. So when you see her, boys and girls, on that first day, or parents and guardians, as you come in, you're on those phones, please welcome her and say hi. And I have told her all about how wonderful our parents and guardians are and our students. And I know she's looking forward to meeting all of you on day one. With that said, boys and girls, we also have a couple of new classroom teachers. Again, some new folks to our teaching ranks. So we welcome a new teacher into 6th grade, Miss Paige Teves. We're very excited to have Miss Teves. I know she was here subbing last year in the building, and she was also doing her student teaching here at Rochester Memorial. So again, maybe familiar to some of you, but she is a new member of our 6th grade team. Very, very lucky to have her. And also, boys and girls, a familiar face and a familiar name that I know everyone has come to love here at Rochester Memorial, but we welcome to our 3rd grade team, Mr. Fornes. Mr. Fornes is a new 3rd grade teacher. Very excited to have Mr. Fornes on board. I know he's been many roles here at Rochester Memorial, from campus aide to substitute to long-term sub. So very fortunate to have Mr. Fornes jump into our 3rd grade team as a classroom teacher. So boys and girls, as you're in those grade levels or you're throughout the building and you see those folks, welcome them aboard. We're very excited to have our new staff members. Boys and girls, I'm going to jump into that slideshow now because it's very important that as we talk about through our responsive classroom, we want to make sure that you're part of the routines. You understand routines and protocols and safety measures that we have in place here. Like we always talk about in your classrooms, you come up with your class rules. We talk about hopes and dreams for the year. So I really want to go through this PowerPoint is to show you just some of the things we're putting in place to make sure that you're safe and your teachers and staff members in the building as well. Because this year's focus, we really want to shift away from focusing on operations and how we're walking and what we're doing in classrooms as far as sitting and things like that, to really focusing back on teaching and learning. I think we did an excellent job of getting to that towards the end of last year. We did a wonderful job with it during the hybrid, remote, asynchronous versus synchronous time. But obviously, as we all know, it was so nice to welcome you guys back full in person last year in the different times. I know we did our lower grades first and then our upper grades second. And it was so nice to see the momentum you were all gaining. And it certainly showed. The data that we have from either Ames Web or our reading benchmark system, or even our preliminary MCAS data that we're unpacking right now, is certainly showing that there was a lot of learning that happened last year. This year, we want to roll up our sleeves right on day one and get right into that and kick off where we ended last year and roll right into this year. So let me share my screen here, boys and girls, and we're going to go through a presentation to show you what the building is going to look like. So I know that your parents and guardians may have attended the Q&A session that took place this week. A similar presentation, not this exact presentation, but a similar presentation took place, a little bit more detail for your parents, but this is more visuals for all of you. And just a reminder to our parents who were on that Q&A, but maybe some of our parents and guardians weren't able to attend. A lot of this information was on that Q&A session. So please, if you have any questions once this is done, don't hesitate to reach out to either myself, Mr. West, or your child's classroom teacher. So here you go, boys and girls. So our Project Grow kiddos, here's your Project Grow classroom looking a lot like it did last year. As we see, we have our locations, our different stations. There's those visuals on the ground there, our squares, where Miss Baronis and Miss Henry and Miss Bateman will be able to help out and guide our preschoolers throughout their day. Project Grow is actually one of the grade levels last year that really didn't have much change. Their natural schedule of Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday allowed them to come on a normal basis. And obviously, we're excited to have our Project Grow families back. Excuse me, boys and girls. Lower elementary classrooms, as we can see, boys and girls, you see that the desks are in rows, okay? We're shooting for is each classroom in our building, the desks are at least 3 feet apart. Some classrooms are able to go a little bit more than 3 feet, but we're shooting for minimally 3 feet apart because there is new close contact guidance that says with the new mask mandate that's out, as long as you're 3 feet apart with that mask on in the classroom, you can stay in school if one of your classmates sitting next to you does test positive. So that's one of the big changes. As I mentioned, really want to roll up our sleeves and focus on teaching and learning that first, right out of the gate, right on the first day. And this new close contact guidance is going to help us do that. Now, we got to remember, we want to keep our good hygiene practices in place regardless if we're operating school in a pandemic, right? Hand washing is always very important. Making sure our area is clean so that we're ready for learning. Or what do we always talk about? Take care of your environment. Your learning space in your classroom is obviously your number one priority around environment, and then so is the rest of the building when we walk through the halls and our specialist areas and cafeteria and so on. But as you can see, boys and girls, K1 and 2 and 3, just a couple of different snapshots of what the classrooms look like. As you come into school on Tuesday, you'll see, so you're not surprised by it, you'll see those desks are back into rows like that, a little closer together than last year, which is nice. But with those masks on and making sure that we're 3 feet apart, your teachers will go over that with you. There are those dots at that front leg so that you can remember and remind yourself, take a look. If that desk is moving, you can put that back and make sure that you're in a safe space, okay? Because boys and girls, the priority is, and Mrs. Murphy, well, as awesome as we all know, is to keep all of us in the building so that we continue to learn, okay? But we got to work as a team, right? We got to work as a team. We want to make sure we're keeping those good hygiene practices in place, washing our hands, making sure that we're keeping our mask on indoors. We're going to have plenty of time for different mask breaks throughout the day, and we'll go over that as we move on in the presentation here. So our upper elementary grades, so grades 4 through 6, just a quick little look at a couple of classrooms and what that's going to look like. Boys and girls, I hope you're excited about it a little bit because as you can see, a lot more furniture in the room around the perimeter and things like that because we are able with the 3 feet to have some of those U-shaped tables, some of the rug area where you will be able to work in small groups with your classmates or your teachers. All right, Mr. Medeiros is going to talk a little bit later about the acceleration roadmap that Mr. West and I are working with all of our teachers on here at RMS to make sure that you're continuing to get a wonderful educational experience. Part of that roadmap tells us that we want to make sure the teachers are getting you what you need, not only in whole class discussion, but in small group as well. All right, so as we see, like for example, we see a library space here in the back of this room, and we see another library space here. And as you're in the classroom looking around, you'll see that there are other areas where you'll be able to participate in small group, which is great. All right, boys and girls, so our cafeteria. So what does our cafeteria look like? So this year, we're going to continue just like we did last year. We're going to have our normal lunch shifts. Okay, first lunch shift, grade 5 and 6, for example, starting right at 11 o'clock, going right to 11:40. When grade 5 is outside at recess, grade 6 will be eating, and then we'll make that swap, vice versa. We'll see in the next slide what the exit out to recess door looks like and what the entrance back in. Very similar to last year. All right. The nice key thing here is we only have to use our cafeteria this year. We're able to fit enough desks where every grade level team will be able to fit and have our lunch in the cafeteria. Lunch and breakfast is free again this year, boys and girls, for the entire year. But some good news here is you will be able to purchase some of those a la carte items. So you will be able to purchase chips and ice cream or waters and things of that nature, or juice in the cafeteria lines, and you'll be able to see that when you come to school on the first day as we go through those cafeteria lines. So exciting news there that we're able to bring back some of those I know those fan favorites of a lot of you, and those a la carte items right at the register. So as I mentioned, boys and girls, typical lunch shifts, okay, across all grade levels. One grade level outside at recess where the other grade level will switch. All right, our kindergarten students, what I love about this for you is obviously your classrooms are right in line with your kindergarten playground, so you'll be able to go right outside for recess and come right in the door that's right near your classroom, and then you'll head up to the cafeteria after your recess. And then we'll continue with the two-door system, which I believe you'll see here. Yep, here is the slide with that. So as we can see, boys and girls, we're going to head out to recess at the door right near Miss Smith's art room. And we see we have all the recess equipment there, our hand sanitizer station there. And we still have our lines with our dots. I know our teachers are going to be utilizing those outdoor spaces, and I believe there's a slide for that. We'll remind everyone about those outdoor spaces. There'll be opportunities where your teacher will bring you outside to maybe have that snack. So it serves as a snack break, but also a mass break as well. There may be opportunities to do a project outside in the outdoor classroom or under the tent. I know our specialists will still try to utilize the outdoors, especially in the nice weather. All right. And then we're entering the building here, lining up. Here's our lines with our dots, where we're going to line up right where the structure is when that whistle blows, and we'll be able to come right in through the C-wing into the cafeteria. All right. So boys and girls, specialists, one exciting thing about this school year, all specialists will, number one, continue to take place, right? So chorus and band will be back. Miss Audette, Miss Williamson will talk to you about what that's going to look like, all right, and how we're going to do that in a safe way. But also, boys and girls, we're excited that specialists will take place in their classrooms, okay? So you're going to be going to the gym. You're going to go to the media center. We're going to be going to the art room and the music room and band room and the health classroom, which this year is upstairs in our C-wing. So we're very excited about that. Our specialists do not have to travel class to class via cart, which is outstanding. Our normal specialist blocks, I know last year we had maybe one specialist 2 days in a row, and then we transitioned to a new one. Not doing that this year. This year, you're going to have each specialist 1 day a week for the 5 days, which is great, back to our normal specialist schedule. And then, as I mentioned, not only our specialists, but all of our teachers will be using outdoor spaces for fresh air breaks, mask breaks, snack breaks, things of that nature, or even for some instruction, maybe a read aloud, maybe a project. We have a beautiful campus here that I know throughout the years our teachers utilize for different instruction and things like that. So a lot of opportunity for us to be able to enjoy some time outdoors, which is great. And boys and girls, just a reminder what those spaces look like. So this photo here on the left, we remember we were very fortunate to receive the grant from the Early Childhood Foundation to make this outdoor classroom as real as it is. So we know that cabinet there opens up and it's a whiteboard, and a lot of our classrooms go out there, like I mentioned, whether it's for snack break or a mask break, or there's been read alouds. We've had some buddy reading that's happened there. We've had some science projects take place in that outdoor classroom, which is awesome. And then obviously we have our outdoor tent, which I know a lot of our specialists use, but also our classroom teachers use as well. To have some instructional time or even some classroom time. Maybe perhaps morning meeting or closing circle is going to take place in one of these areas as well. All right. And then, boys and girls, those of you that are getting picked up and dropped off by a parent or guardian, we're going to have our same 2 locations. So this photo here shows our indoor and outdoor arrival and dismissal spot for K through 2. So reminder, boys and girls, these black posts are marked, right? So this is K, first grade. We skip one and we have second grade. Our dots are still there for you to stand on so you can remember. Your parent or guardian will pull right up. We'll be able to open those doors for you. Our staff will be out there. You'll enter the building. And then same thing at pickup will be when your parent or guardian pulls up, we'll help open that door and get you in that vehicle, and off you go. Parents and guardians, we're using the exact same system we did last year. So we're asking everyone to stay in their vehicles. Please do not park and come out of the vehicle. We're asking that you stay in your vehicle and follow the, obviously, pattern of traffic so that we can ensure that we don't have backup on Pine Street and we can get everyone out in a timely manner. Last year, you were all outstanding with this, and we certainly appreciate your collaboration and work. A lot of great suggestions came from our parents and guardians, but in collaboration with all of you and the Rochester Police Department, it went swimmingly. We were able to get everyone out within a 5 to 8 minute window, which was outstanding. And then this picture here, boys and girls, is obviously in inclement weather, rainy days, snowy days. We'll line up inside, our K-2 students inside, and as those vehicles pull up, we call a student out to come on in. And then our grades 3 through 6 arrival and dismissal. As we see, obviously these gates are open here during dismissal and arrival time. Students walk right into the building. Our grade 3 through 6 students, or they're lining up here in these dots as their parent or guardian vehicle pulls up. We get them right in there. And then obviously here's our indoor location. All right. Okay. So boys and girls, obviously, as I mentioned, this was a slide that we shared. So questions, I wanted to have it here so that you can remember any questions you have, you write them down, have your mom or dad or parent or guardian email them to myself, Mr. West, your classroom teacher. Any questions you have, don't hesitate to ask on that first day. But very exciting, boys and girls, to have you back here at school. I wanted to give you a snapshot of what the building is looking like so that when you come in on that first day, you feel comfortable and you understand. Those of you that are new to our school that registered here this summer, don't worry, our students are outstanding. One of the things you'll hear us talk a lot about is our school rules. Take care of yourself, but take care of others. They certainly live that. They will make sure that you know where to go, have a friend at lunchtime and recess. And I know our staff members and our social emotional team, our school social workers will help to do that as well. And so will your classroom teachers and all of our other support staff in the building. So please don't worry. There'll be plenty of folks here to help you and navigate where to be on that first day. But boys and girls, I hope you're excited now that you've seen what the building looks like a little bit to be back here at school next week. Exciting announcement. I know at this time of the year and again at the end of the year, folks are very excited to ride their bikes to school. All right. One thing I'm very proud of, boys and girls, is to say that we're able to allow you to ride your bike to school here to start the school year. So those bike riders, feel free to ride on into school. I know that you've done an amazing job over the years in making sure that that helmet is on, making sure that you're, swivel-headed, watching for those vehicles. We don't have sidewalks, so please be careful. And I know a lot of you have come with a parent or guardian or family member or older sibling, and you've done a nice job staying with them and making sure you're keeping a distance from the buses if you do catch up to them on the road. So boys and girls, biking is allowed. We just ask that you come right in and you park your bike right away. Please, let's not be doing tricks or riding around the campus. We really want to park our bike right away. And right at 8:30, you can come on in and sit in the cafeteria and cool off, or even participate in breakfast if you like before you head to class. So biking to school is certainly allowed. All right, so parents and guardians, boys and girls, as I mentioned, this year you're going to hear us talk a lot about acceleration roadmap. All right, boys and girls, for us, that means that we are just continuing to plan and put together ideas and thoughts and looking at what we have done in the past, what we're currently doing, and what we need to be doing to make sure that you feel like you belong here at Rochester Memorial and that you're learning at the highest possible level that we know you can. So that's what the teachers and myself and Mr. West are all going to be working on this year. And we're going to be doing that in collaboration with your parents and guardians as well. So parents and guardians, please know, feel free to jump on the Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed webpage. I know the superintendent's office did share the acceleration roadmap. There's an administrative one and a teacher one as well. The superintendent's office did share that earlier in the summer, I believe, so please feel free to take a look at that. One thing, as Mr. West and I go through the self-assessment of that for this building, is there are so many things that we're already doing that ensure that our students' needs are being met. One thing I just want to reiterate is you hear the word acceleration roadmap. Sometimes that's deceiving to say, oh, we're going to, that's for enrichment and that's for beyond grade level work. This is really just to make sure that our students are continuing to learn at grade level each and every year. So one of the things for us is that we're very proud of is our social emotional team and our things like the Rochester Memorial Students Ambassadors, because one of the biggest pieces to this is sense of belonging in school. So if you recall, we do a panorama survey that we want to hear from our students. We value their voice and they tell us how they feel about being students here at Rochester Memorial. Do they feel they belong? Do they have adults that they trust that they can go to? And we certainly have that data from last year that we continue to analyze, and we'll be doing that survey again this year. Always excited to hear and look forward to hearing from our students and their perspective of what it's like to be a student here at Rochester Memorial each day. But we're very lucky. There's not many schools like ours in the Commonwealth who can say they have a full social emotional team made up of 2 full-time social workers and support staff throughout the building, where we have the folks that are not only trained professionals that have tools in the toolbox to help our students work through these things and help our teachers work through things like morning meeting and all school meetings and closing circles and things like that, but also to work with all of you and engage our families in coming to the building and making sure that there's that two-way partnership between home and school. So we're very excited to have that team analyzing that data and have that team here to not only, like I mentioned, work with individual students in small group, but also help us throughout the entire building as well. So boys and girls, we are going to be doing that survey this year. We ask that you take it seriously. Please tell us how you feel so that we can make sure that we're making the adjustments and changing things that we need to and continuing to do the things that you love about Rochester Memorial. The other 2 pieces to this acceleration map, parents and guardians, is that we are monitoring our students' understanding. So one of the things that we value here at Rochester Memorial, and I think we've gotten better and better at each year, is using data to drive what we do. All right, so I know data is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but we really, as I mentioned, that panorama survey data, that's one set of data that we value, but there's also our typical Ames Web data, which is our district assessments in ELA and math. We have our benchmarking reading assessments that tell us how our students are doing in reading, as well as our DIBELS, which tells us a lot about phonemic awareness and things of that nature. And then obviously there's a lot of assessing that our teachers do, whether it's formal or informal, throughout the school year in the classroom. But we really, we have our state standards, but using data to ensure that we're meeting our students' needs, and the exposure of those standards has been a big piece to what we do here at Rochester Memorial, and we're going to continue to strengthen that. One thing Mr. West and I love about our view of the acceleration roadmap is just to make sure that we have the pieces in place to make sure that that data driven conversations are happening across all grade levels, which, as I mentioned, are already happening, but how can we strengthen them and make them better? And so this is certainly a nice plan and document that are going to help us do that as a team. Certainly as a team, we want to have a voice from all of our staff members here, and our students, and our parents and guardians as well. And then the last piece is that we're making sure that we're not going into remediation instruction, but grade level instruction. So one of the things I'm very proud of here is our full inclusive philosophy in this district. We do not have any remedial programming, or we don't feel that our students are best served by remedial programs. We feel like they should be instructed at their grade level with scaffolding in the moment. So for example, a student needs supports in place in order to make that grade level gain. We put those supports in place right in their classroom alongside their peers, which I'm very, very proud of. So parents and guardians, boys and girls, this is certainly a great thing for us. We know that here at Rochester Memorial, we have already been doing a lot of the things that are in these roadmaps. But what we love about it is that we now have a clear document and a map and a plan that's going to help us just strengthen the experience here at Rochester Memorial. So we're certainly very excited about that. Boys and girls, I want to remind you, I know your summer does go by fast, but it was a long summer. And like I mentioned, we're excited to welcome you back. But a reminder that we're going to jump right into focusing on our CARES model. We're going to jump right into cooperation and how cooperation helps us with responsible decision making. We're going to talk about assertiveness in the month of October, and how being assertive helps us with our relationship skills. We transition in November to being responsible, and how responsible helps us with self-awareness. And then we go into December and how we focus on empathy, and how empathy helps us with social awareness. And then we come in the new year in January, and we talk about self-control and self-management. And then we recycle right back to cooperation in February, and we go right through assertiveness, responsibility, empathy, and self-control the remaining months of the school year. But boys and girls, remember that CARES model is very important to what we do here. Okay, and we look forward to jumping right into cooperation as we start the school year. So a reminder, cooperation is when we work willingly with others to accomplish a task. It's when we take turns, play fair, and include others. It's when we encourage others with a smile. Responsible decision-making is like cooperation, as you are making careful, thoughtful choices about personal behavior and social interactions across your school day, including the bus, boys and girls. Boys and girls, I'm so happy to make this Medeiros Minute for you, because that means we're starting school very soon. Can't wait to see you on Tuesday. I know our teachers are excited for their teacher day on Monday, and seeing all of their colleagues that they may have not seen over the summer, and really getting back here to Rochester Memorial and making those final touches on the classrooms or their spaces so that they're ready for you when you come on Tuesday. I hope everyone has a fabulous weekend. Like I mentioned, if you haven't finished those summer reading books, please make sure you do that this weekend or on Monday, because I know our teachers are looking forward to having those conversations and getting your feedback on how you felt about that book and the experiences, and maybe where that journey took you this summer. And remember, boys and girls, as you're out this weekend in the community, take care of yourself, take care of others, and take care of your environment.